All right, now we get to do some things that are a little bit more fun. Every Jeep needs tow hooks. This Jeep doesn't have anything, I mean, nothing in the front end to hook to if you were to get stuck or if somebody else is stuck and you need to help them. I mean, there's just nowhere to put anything. It's ridiculous. I think it should be mandatory that all Jeeps have tow hooks. Anyway, so I got some tow hooks I'm going to put on here. Unfortunately, it's not as easy to work on these as it is a Wrangler. So in order to do this, we're going to have to take the whole front bumper off. You could probably manage it without taking the bumper off, but you would have to use a Dremel tool to cut out the lower portion of the grill, and I don't know. It's just going to be a lot easier if we just take the front bumper off. So as bad as I hate it, that's what we're going to do. And then since I have to take the front bumper off and I have to get in here anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead while I'm at it and upgrade the headlight bulbs to something that's a little bit brighter, because honestly, these stock halogen projector headlights are the worst headlights I've ever had in my life. I mean, they're honestly that bad. They're just terrible. So I bought some headlight bulbs that I'm going to try, see if it helps any. So let's get to it. So I have already taken the, there's like a lower plastic shield up underneath of there that I've already removed. In order to do that, you've basically got some clips in the front that you just twist and pull out from the bottom. Once you crawl under the bottom, you'll see you literally just grab them, turn them a quarter turn, and then they pull out. And in my case, there was also a couple of small screws as well. Some of these Grand Cherokees don't have actual screws, but this one did. So this part was pretty easy to take off. I went ahead and removed that yesterday to get it out of my way. Now what I'm going to do is take my trim tool, what I call a cat claw, and we're just going to go across the top here and pull out these little plastic rivets. All you got to do is pull up on the top part and then get under the bottom part, and they will come right out. I've showed you guys these before. Jeep uses these all the time. You got that top part that pops up and then the whole thing comes out. So I'm going to go along the top here and take these out. And then I'll have to get on the corners and take the fender flares off, at least partially. Over here where the fender flares are on both sides, we're not going to take the entire flare off. We just have to take it off up to the edge of the bumper there. So, you know, you got these little plastic rivets that are going to be in here. You can drill them out if you want to and then pull them out. I just usually put my cat claw in there and pry them off, you know, like pull the head of it off. Here's one right here. The heads will just pop off of them. And, you know, when you go to reinstall these, I can't talk today. I'll show you how to do that later. Basically, you just need a set of plastic rivets and some, you know, like a cheap rivet tool that you can pick up at like Harbor Freight or somewhere, and you can put those back in. But anyway, once you get those rivets out, then the fender flare literally just starts to unsnap all the way up. And I'm going to pull that out enough with my plastic trim tool here that I can make access to get the bumper unsnapped. Definitely want to use a plastic tool though, and not metal. All right, so now you turn your wheels, and if you look down in here, hard to see, but right there is another one of those twist tabs. You got to turn that thing and pull it out, and there's one of those on both sides, so you'll just have to turn your wheels back and forth so that you can make access to it, or you can crawl under and get it. So once you have all those clips removed from the bottom and these clips on the top, and you got your fender flares out of the way, now the bumper should be ready to come off. And what you have to do is you got to get in here and grab this and kind of pull it out, because it has clips right along this seam right here that snap into place. So you got to get in there and pull that out. This is the part that I hate, because obviously you don't want to break anything. But that's pretty much what you have to do. and it's going to be a little harder than it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this for a minute, and then once I get it apart, I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so here's a better view of how this thing works. And like I said, you can see these little provisions here that snap into the tabs. So once you make sure that you have all your rivets and screws out back here, then this whole thing just pulls straight out and unsnaps. And then we can remove the entire front bumper. All right, so once you have the bumper off, you have easy access to get in here to the tow hook mounting points, and you'll be able to easily see when you get under here, there's a threaded hole in the frame right there, and one right up here in the front. And of course, they supply you with hardware, so you just get up in there and bolt the tow hooks on. They don't give you any torque specs, which is weird. So I just cranked them down where I felt like they were tight. But I don't think you want to overdo it, because honestly, the hardware they give you doesn't look like the greatest in the world. Oh, by the way, these are the Rough Country tow hooks. Rough Country brand forged tow hooks, because they were so much less expensive. And usually Rough Country makes pretty good stuff. All right, so now I can put the bumper back on, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get this headlight swapped out first. These are a little more difficult. So that was the plastic piece that went right here underneath the headlight, and it has a bolt here, a bolt there, and it has 2 bolts on the side here. And then once those come out, then the headlight will be loose on the bottom. But up here on top, underneath this trim panel, right about there, there's a bolt that's hidden underneath there. So you'll have to lift this up somehow and make access to that bolt to get the whole headlight to come out. Now, by the way, you don't have to do all of this just to change headlight bulbs. There are ways you can get to the headlight bulbs without removing any of this. I'm just doing it this way because I had to take the bumper off anyhow to do my tow hooks and stuff. So just wanted to point that out. I got the headlight housings out and replaced the low beam bulbs with those, well, what's supposed to be an upgrade. Here's what I got. These are Sylvania ZXE gold bulbs. I don't know. Like I said, we'll try them out. The guy at the store tells me they're the greatest thing that he's ever seen, so we'll try them. But the high beams on this Jeep are not too bad. The low beams were the problem. Absolutely horrendous low beams. So hopefully that'll take care of that. Got the tow hooks on, ready to put the bumper back on. One last thing I have to do. Since this didn't come with tow hooks, there's no provisions for the tow hooks to stick out of. So you can either take a Dremel tool and cut this out over here and over there, or you can buy a new lower grill insert for around 30 bucks. That's what I did because mine is broken here anyway, where something hit it. So I got to take these white clips out, and the way these things work is you got to press down on this tab and then pop it out. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them around there. So I got to take all these little white clips out, and then I can swap out the lower inserts. So it's the next day. It got dark too early last night, but the UPS guy just showed up and dropped off the lower section of the bumper that we need. So obviously this one has provisions for the tow hooks. So all we have to do is pop this into the bumper, put those white clips back in all the way around it, and the bumper will be ready to go back on. At this point, the only thing I'm waiting on is a new headlight housing. So I was telling you that I upgraded the bulbs and put some high intensity halogen bulbs in here. But in the process of doing that, I realized that this passenger side headlight housing actually has a problem. And I can't really figure out what it is without disassembling the headlight. And I didn't really want to do that because once you disassemble these, they're really hard to get sealed back up again. But there's something going on internally, because when I shine both of these headlights onto a wall, for example, the driver's side light is putting out the beam pattern that you would expect from a projector, but this one over here doesn't. There's something internally going on in there that's making this look really dim and unfocused. It's almost like maybe something inside the projector tube itself has come apart. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I fooled around with it for a little while and I couldn't fix it. So unfortunately, as bad as I hate it, I had to order a new housing for this side so that I can get these headlights to work the way they should. That could have been part of my problem. The reason these were so terrible, maybe because this one wasn't, pulling its weight, but with the new bulbs and a new housing over here, I think I'll be able to get it all straightened out. But, with the bumper off, obviously this is the time to do it. So just waiting another day or so to get a new housing, and then I can finally put all this back together. In the meantime, I did find some torque specs on the hardware that they sent me with these tow hooks, and it indicates that on these 10mm bolts, you should torque them to about 32 foot-pounds. Now, if it's a class 10 bolt, 45 foot-pounds. So with that 1/2-inch ratchet, I probably am there already, but just for the kick of it, I'll go ahead and throw my torque wrench on here and make sure that they're good to spec. But yeah, that's all I'm waiting on at this point. Then we can put the bumper back on and this project will be done. All right, well, the weather has changed again. It was hot the other day. Today it's snowing. Welcome to Kentucky. In any case, I decided to go ahead and start putting this Jeep back together. UPS truck showed up and dropped off this new headlight housing, and it looks fantastic. I got this thing from Amazon, and it actually came from an American, US-based vendor, believe it or not. So that worked out really good. I tested all the lights. All the lights worked great. Over here, I had a marker light burned out, so I put another bulb in it and it didn't come on. I thought, oh no, maybe the socket's bad. So I tested the socket. I was getting 12 volts, so I guess I just had 2 bad bulbs. So I put a 3rd bulb in there and now that's working. So everything is working. I got the bumper hung back on here. All I got to do is put my 2 plastic push rivets in the top. I've already snapped everything into place around the headlights on both sides. And then all you got to do is snap your fender flares back into position and get up under there and start putting those plastic clips in the bottom, and we will be done. So tow hooks look good. I know it's dark out here and it's hard to see. I apologize for that, but it's that time of the year. It's dark all the time. So yeah, the tow hooks look good, and that'll be extremely functional on this Jeep. I don't know why you would ever build any car without some tow point, but especially a Jeep. I mean, come on. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of these clips in, and then, so you remember those plastic rivets over here in front of the tire. Remember there was one right there and one right here, and I just basically broke the heads off of them. Some people drill them out, but you got 2 of those over here, and you got 2 on the other side. Well, here's what you're going to want. If you just go to Harbor Freight, you can get like this Pittsburgh kit right here or something similar. I'm not sponsored by Harbor Freight by any means, but just happen to have one nearby. So yeah, just get you one of these kits, and it has plastic rivets included in the kit of various sizes, and you've got the little tool to insert them with also. And that way you can replace those rivets with a factory style option. So yeah, there's another project done on the Grand Cherokee. I think everything came out really nice. These rough country forged tow hooks should be plenty strong enough for anything I'm going to get into. And the new headlight housing really did help. So now I finally got some pretty decent visibility. It's still not as nice as having LEDs, but it's better than it was. So can't throw too much money at this thing right now. Have some other things I need to get done to it first. Maybe next year we'll put some LED housings in it or something like that. But anyway, just trying to get the maintenance caught up, and now I've moved on to doing some functional things that it needs, like the tow hooks. It needs tires really bad and an alignment, which I'm going to be getting to here in the next few weeks. Trying to decide if I want to put a leveling kit on the front of it before I do that, though. I guess the next thing I'm going to do is repair the fuel door. So on these Jeeps, you got a button inside the dash there. You got to press that button to open up the fuel door to put gas in it. And I discovered the other day that this one is broken. Apparently the little pin that goes into the hinge has come loose or something. So gonna have to take the fuel door apart tomorrow and try to repair that so that I can put gas in the thing. I fought with it there at the gas station, and I finally got it open. The guy behind me was getting a little irritated. I didn't expect that to be an issue. First time putting gas in it, you know? So got to get that fixed tomorrow. I guess that'll be the next thing on the list, and then we'll see what happens after that. The weather's turned to cold. We got some snow last night, and there's more coming, so this is going to end up being pretty interesting. But anyway, hopefully this helps somebody, and it's just interesting to you. Thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate it. You guys have a good weekend.